it be a 5-star? I don't know yet. Kristen Hanna's always gonna be like at least a 4.5, I feel like. Do yourself a favor and pick up this book. It's unbelievable. It's so good. Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to another video. I don't know what that was. I just really want to get through more of my TBR in this video. I don't really feel like reading on theme. I feel like mood reading. So for today's video, it just got very loud outside. For this video, we are gonna do another little reading vlog. When I hit a 5-star book, this video will end. Hopefully, for your sake, I get to read a lot of books before we hit a 5-star, so you can watch more video. I actually started a book yesterday. It's behind me. I'm gonna go get it. So I started Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This has been really high in my TBR for so long because you guys know I absolutely love V.E. Schwab. She's one of my favorite writers, but I hadn't read this before and I was really interested in it because it's actually YA, and I'm pretty sure all the other books I've read from her are adult. So yeah, I was just intrigued to see what her YA writing was like, and so far I'm really liking it. It has all like the dark, mysterious, moody, kind of like gritty vibes that V.E. Schwab always writes in, but I feel like the language is maybe a little bit easier to like get through really quickly. Like I find myself reading this so fast. I only read like an hour, I think, yesterday. I didn't have a lot of reading time, but I read 101 pages in an hour and I feel like that's really quick. But this is a YA fantasy. It's very witchy. We follow a girl named Olivia who she starts out in an orphanage and she sees like these ghouls everywhere. She has this like journal that's from her mother. It's like the last remaining piece of her mother that she has. It's just like a bunch of old journal entries, maybe like letters to Olivia herself, and it's just very mysterious. There's a lot of like weird things going on. It was said that her mom kind of went mad like near the end of her life. So yeah, there's a lot of just like witchy mystery happening here, and I love books like that. So I'm really enjoying this so far. Will it be a 5-star? I don't know yet, but I love V.E. Schwab. You guys know I love V.E. Schwab, so it could very well be a 5-star. I think this only has a 3.7 or something around that on Goodreads, and I'm really shocked because I'm really loving this so far. I really love V.E. Schwab's books in general, so the fact that this is rated so low is very confusing to me, but I wonder, like, I don't know, we'll see how the ending is. Maybe the ending is like not very satisfying, but so far it's definitely higher than a 3.7 for me. Also, I feel like the experience reading this book is just so fun because first of all, I'm gonna come closer. It's stunning. The dust jacket's kind of like this paper material. It's not like the regular plasticky feeling like dust cover. It's like literally feels like paper. And then on the inside, this is like the front inner cover art. And there's a bunch of like little ink splotch art within the book that like go along with the story. Like they have significance in the story, like with her mom's journal and stuff. So I don't know, it's just like, look at that. There's a whole like black page, and in the middle of the book, I haven't really got here yet, so I'm gonna try not to spoil myself, but there's like a whole section with all these like ink splotchy pages. I'm loving the vibe. Like that is so much dang fun. This is my current read. We'll just continue reading and see what happens. See if I like it.
May you always find your way to higher ground. May you always keep your head held up high. Pretty little thing, you're a diamond in the rough, shining from within. I can tell that you're tough.
So I just want to take a second here to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this portion of the video. Lately, I have wanted to up my editing skills, just like speeding up my editing in general, because as you guys know, I work full-time. I also love reading a lot of books and I love making YouTube videos. And all of that is all very time consuming. So I really want to learn how to like speed up the entire editing process because that's what takes the most time out of making a YouTube video. So I've decided to make that a part of my summer bucket list. And that's also why I'm so excited to talk about Skillshare with you. Skillshare is the largest online community for creatives. It offers literally like thousands of classes for film, for illustration, for anything else creative, for productivity, and so much more. They even have these learning paths where they've really curated class collections. These are specially designed to help you master specific skills. And I actually saw that Carrie Cakes, or Carrie Can Read from YouTube, has a course on Skillshare. And this one, called From Mess to Success, Essential Organization for YouTube, actually looks like exactly what I was looking for. So I'm definitely gonna check out this. And the best part is I do have a link for you. The first 500 people to use the link in my description box below will get a 1 month free trial to Skillshare. Just click the link in the description box to join. Skillshare helps you turn all of those I want tos to I made it happen, and we love that. So whether you want to up your career, start a new hobby, or just explore your creativity, Skillshare has got you covered. So go ahead, check out Skillshare and make those creative dreams of yours a reality. Thank you so much to Skillshare. Let's continue reading our books.
Just a side of you when I'm at my weakest point.
We did it. I did enjoy Gallant. I think I wanted just a bit more from it. I'm gonna give this a 3.75, so it's definitely not a 5-star. The setup and the premise of it all was hovering around a 4, maybe a 4.25, but I think I just wanted more from it. I loved the witchiness of it, the like ghouls or ghosts and the shadows, and like the death in it was like very, very cool, and I liked that. There's a hair on you. Cat hair on you. But I kind of just wish this book was longer and like we went into more explanation as to like what was actually happening or like why things were happening, and just like I wanted more to happen. I feel like this was such a short story. We kind of just got the bare minimum of like what we needed to know to have the book make sense. I enjoyed it overall. It was a really fun experience, especially with all the imagery. It was just such a mood. It was such a vibe reading this book. So I really, really enjoyed that. But yeah, I wanted like a little bit more from it. So that is a 3.75. Still really enjoyed it. What should we read next though? So I have my like barely filled TBR cart, and then I obviously have my TBR shelf down here. So we could try this Rebecca Ross, which has been on my shelf forever. Kristen Hanna's always gonna be like at least a 4.5, I feel like. I've heard so many great things about this. Legend Born looks also great as well. The font in this is tiny. Oh my gosh. It's a little intimidating. I feel like because I read something like kind of fantasy, I'm not sure if I want to jump straight back into a fantasy again. I also have Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I just recently read Not Another Love Song, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I feel like this could actually be really good. Do I think it'll be a 5-star? Possibly not, probably not. It'll probably be a 4 is my prediction, but I'm kind of like in the mood for this right now. And then I'll probably jump onto one of these like more serious books again. I think this is like a rom-com. This one is about a wedding planner. That's the FMC. The MMC is a brooding florist, and they have to like work together because she's a wedding planner and he's a florist, and obviously the two go together. Probably not gonna be a 5-star, but I'm gonna read it anyways.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations. Cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken. Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
Hey guys, don't mind this mess that I have here. I just filmed a book tag, so all my books are just scattered everywhere. But I did finish Forget Me Not and The Trial of the Sun Queen. First of all, Forget Me Not was not a 5-star as I predicted. I'm at around a 3.25 for this book. I thought it was gonna be a 4. I don't know, I feel like I enjoyed Not Another Love Song more than this one. It was still really fun to read, but there were just a couple things that were not my favorite in this book. So this book is a second chance romance. We do have dual POV. I feel like that was done really well. All of our FMC's POVs were in present day, and then the MMC POVs were in past tense. So it felt really smooth, like jumping back and forth between the POVs and back in time and forward in time, because the POVs and the timelines were very consistent in that way. I also really enjoyed like seeing all of, I guess they're not Easter eggs because technically this book was written before Not Another Love Song, but the MMC in that book is in this book as well. There was so much information about him in this book that had to do with some like pretty big reveals that happened in Not Another Love Song. Things that you wouldn't notice as like random details in a side character while you're reading this book. But like after reading that book and then reading this and then seeing all the little like hidden pieces of information, I was like, wow, Julie Soto's been planning like his story since writing this book, because there were just so many things thrown in here that are pretty significant in the next book. So that was really fun to read. This relationship I didn't like as much. I feel like it was very just like smut heavy, lust heavy first before the emotional aspect, and I'm usually like an emotional romance girly first. The romance is definitely very, very predictable in this book. It's very like copy paste, second chance romance template, but I feel like the plot outside of the romance was really fun to read. Like the whole wedding planning stuff, the fiascos that were happening in terms of the weddings that were happening, I found that really fun to read. Like the twists and turns of that were really exciting. There were definitely things that annoyed me, but overall it was a fun experience. It was not a 5-star, but it was fun. Then I read Trial of the Sun Queen. I don't think I've even talked about this book with you guys, have I? I just kind of picked it up and ran with it. But this is a fantasy romance. It follows Lore, who is a prisoner of the Aurora King. She's been a prisoner for like 12 years, so that's all she knows. One day, all of a sudden, she gets like rescued for some mysterious reason by someone she doesn't know and placed into these trials that she has to compete in to get a chance to marry the king and become the Sun Queen and like gain all this power. It's definitely a very typical fantasy structure with like, you know, the underdog getting forced into this like trial thing. You know, it's not anything new or anything groundbreaking. So in that sense, things were pretty predictable in this book, but again, I still found this really fun to read. It was engaging. The writing was really fast-paced and easy to consume. I feel like there was enough kind of like creativity thrown in here that it didn't feel like an exact copy of other fantasy romance books that follow the same structure. It had its own kind of flares, like enough of its own flares that I wouldn't say this was like a direct copy of another fantasy romance like I've seen in some other fantasy romances that are very direct copies of each other. I wouldn't say this was one of those. I found that it kind of was a little bit grittier than it had to be. Like it was kind of force feeding us grittiness. There's just like unnecessary violence in it at points that I was like, is that really necessary? Or are you just trying to really pull on like extreme sensations? It was also very obvious like the journey that our FMC was gonna go on. But yeah, it was fun. I think I'm gonna give this a 3-star, maybe a 3.25 as well. So 3 books down, we don't have a 5-star yet. I think we need to bring in the big guns.
Yeah, it's a bit, I won't pretend that it doesn't matter that you're with someone else. In a way, that's how it's supposed to be. If I'm unable to make you happy, then it's for the better that you are not with me. That's why I wrote you a letter, 'cause you see, I write so much better than I speak. And I need to tell you, you were my best friend till the end. I'll be happy without you, but right now I don't know what to do. It's hard to get over you.
Yeah, this was a 5-star. This was a 5-star. I do apologize because I was fully planning on giving you more updates like in between, like while I was reading this book, but I got so immersed in it. I literally did not want to stop reading it. Hi, Sage. I literally did not want to stop reading the book to like update you. I didn't want to take a pause. I was like, I can't even talk about this right now. I can't even put my thoughts into words right now because I'm just feeling so many emotions. As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zoulfa Katouh. I kind of knew this was gonna be a 5-star. I had a feeling because first of all, it has really, really high ratings on Goodreads, and that's always a good sign. My cats are going crazy. Reading the synopsis, I was like, this is gonna be such a heart-wrenching tale, and it truly was. So if you don't know what this book is, it is a historical fiction. It takes place during, you know, the very long civil war in Syria. We follow Salama, who is 18 years old during this story. She is working at a hospital, not just any hospital, you know, obviously this is a hospital during like a war, and she's only 18 years old, so she's really young. She was studying to be a pharmacist, and she got pulled out of school early because they just needed people. They needed anyone with any medical knowledge, and so they pulled her out of school. I think she was like in her second year of university, pulled her out, put her in the hospital. She has lost most of her family by the time the book starts, so a lot of it is her dealing with her grief and her trauma, missing her family and all that, and missing the life that she had, and also missing the life that she could have had. Her like subconscious and her mind plays a big role in this story. Her trauma in her mind has actually manifested into, how do I call it? Like she gets visions. It's not like an imaginary friend. That's like the word that popped into my mind. But her trauma has manifested itself into this like male, like this man, this character that lives in her head and just like appears and talks to her and shows her her most horrific memories, things that could happen in the future. He's basically throughout the entire book trying to convince her to leave Syria. And she's really torn about it because she does have one family member left who is pregnant, and she is just like, I need to help get her out of Syria so she can have her baby in a safer environment. On the other hand, she's doing so much to help with the war efforts, like working at the hospital, saving so many lives and helping out. She just feels really guilty about running away, essentially, and like leaving all these people. Like, who's gonna help heal them when she's gone? So she's dealing with a lot of that. Her sense of morality is challenged a lot in this book in terms of like the decisions she has to make. And then there is a little bit of a romance as well, which is, it's cute, but it's also like, it's not a romance book, you know? Like, that's not what this book is about. You're not supposed to be like giggling and kicking your feet while reading this. But there is also a very wholesome romance story in this as well. It's just so good. I just couldn't put it down. It was beautiful. There's also a lot of like artistry. Like, there's a lot of poetic writing in here. Lots of reference to like flowers, colors, and then like art, like visual art. Do yourself a favor and pick up this book. It's unbelievable. It's so good. As long as the lemon trees grow. And I have hit a 5-star, which means I need to end this video right now. How many books did that take me? 4? That wasn't actually too many books, but I feel like I knew. After I read Trial of the Sun Queen and I was like, I'm not finding a 5-star in these, I was like, I need to pick up the one that I know or have a very strong feeling will be a 5-star, and I was not wrong. This did not disappoint. I don't know, that's it for now, I guess. How do I end my videos? If you liked this video, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know what your latest 5-star read was. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!